Welcome back to the Jim Stinky Cooking Show. So for the last couple of episodes, I'd say about 4 of them, we've had some technical difficulties. So we went and got a new camera, and we're going to try this again. So we've missed some really good food lately. The other night we cooked some lionfish, which was really good. So this is the most requested dish for me to cook. Today we are going to cook New Orleans red beans and rice. So what we did, just a little bit of olive oil into the pot, get it on real hot, where it's smoking hot, literally. We're going to put some sausage in here. We're going to brown it. Now, the sausage that you want to get is andouille sausage. It's got a nice good flavor to it. And if you have people that don't like real spicy food, you might get half andouille and half smoked sausage. So, this is a very important step in red beans and rice. What we want to do is we want to get a crust on this sausage. I'm going to cook it down a little bit. While this is cooking down, talk to you about tasso. Another really good ingredient for New Orleans red beans and rice is called tasso. Ham comes from the hind leg on a pig. Tasso comes from the front shoulder. A little bit more flavorful meat because that muscle is used more. And they'll cut it, age it for a few days, put some spices on it, and cure it just like they do like andouille sausage. Just gives it a really good flavor. Now while we're browning this, the name of the show's been being questioned lately. It's called the Jim Stinky Cooking Show. And a lot of people say it's cute. Some people hate it. Well, I can cook. I can't come up with names of cooking shows. So, brings me to a story about my mom. My mom lives down in Key West. And down in Key West, there is an awesome blues musician. And his name is Jersey Slim. My mom bumped into Jersey Slim, told him about the cooking show. So Jersey Slim's been watching my cooking show. But the one thing he told my mom is he can't stand the name of the show. Okay, fair enough. Only problem is I can take the criticism, but I also want you to give me a solution. So I have a challenge for Jersey Slim. There's a couple of things my cooking show needs. 1, a catchy name, and 2, some theme music. Every good show has good theme music. So Jersey Slim, if you're out there watching, I'm going to challenge you to come up with a good name and make me a theme song. If you guys are ever around Key West, you look up Jersey Slim, got some good songs. Or check him out on YouTube or iTunes Store. Especially look for the song Who's Your Daddy? That's my favorite. Alright. Now you see I got this stove on high. Nice good cast iron pot. And we're just getting it good and hot. And we're going to brown these suckers on all sides. Then we're going to throw our tasso in there. You're going to see just how easy New Orleans red beans and rice really is. But I will strongly recommend that you don't skip out on the right ingredients. You can't get some tasso, get some good flavorful ham. You can't get andouille, get a real good smoked pork sausage. And we're going to talk about the beans in a few minutes. You cannot skip out on the beans. Now last episode we were talking about my mom and my grandmother coming to visit. Well, sure enough, they are in town. My mom lives in New Orleans, and my grandmother lives in New Orleans. My mom lives in Key West. And they both flew in because they heard I was cooking red beans and rice. And you know they have plenty to say about red beans and rice. There's one of the most hotly debated topics in New Orleans is red beans and rice. Everybody's is the best. Everybody's got secrets. But the thing about the Jim Stinky cooking show, I'm going to show you how to do it. Show you that there is no secrets. Do not skip this step, by the way. This is getting good flavor. So, without any further ado, Mama, come on in. Here's my mom and grandmother. Thank you guys for coming. Well, hello, darling. Thank you for having us. So, you know what I'm cooking today, right? Yeah, we heard you cooking red beans and rice. That's right. I'm cooking the red beans and rice. Let me look in the pot. Oh, no, you're doing it all wrong. No, I think I'm doing it all right. Well, if you guys are going to be criticizing my cooking, you're going to have to sit down for a minute. All right, it's getting nice and brown. Just put in some of that tasso. Also cut up some little ham cubes. Just give it a little extra. Alright. Everybody's in the party now. Just keep coming. I'm going to cut it later. That looks like it's gonna be yummy. Alright, while this is cooking, we're gonna talk about camellia beans. Now, if you go to the grocery store and you say, I'm gonna cook New Orleans red beans and rice, and you go get a can of red beans, or you go to the bean aisle and get some red beans. If it is not this, you're not making red beans. Camellia beans is a type of red bean. They grate them, just like steaks are graded, prime, select, choice. The red beans are graded. And camellia beans gets the highest rated, the company gets the highest rated bean. That's why it says smooth and creamy. So if you don't get that brand, then don't cook them. I will give you one exception to this rule. If you don't like red beans, or you don't have a lot of time, or you can't get camellia beans, you can get these off of Amazon. But if you can't get these, then what I would recommend you do is get some big dried lima beans, soak them overnight, and you can do the same recipe with lima beans. So what we're doing is just getting all that flavor in there. Trying to build a crust. Let me show you. So I'm getting a crust on there. That's what we're looking for. You're going to be surprised at how easy it is to make these red beans. So, the camellia beans. You do this comes in a pound, and you soak these overnight, and they get nice and suck in all that juice and all that moisture. If you don't soak them overnight, you're not going to have good red beans. Am I right? That's right, darling. He's right so far. Thank you, guys. Alright, now we got this cooked down a little bit. We got a nice skin on the bottom. Some fond, we call it. We're going to take 1 onion, 1 bell pepper, 2 stalks of celery, and the bottom half of the green onions. Just 1 bunch of them. Alright. We're going to bring these guys to the party. And just let them get in there and soak up all that flavor. How's it smell, camera lady?
Smells like bacon.
Alright, so we're just going to cook this down for a few minutes. Just want to soften it up. Okay. Next thing we're going to add is some diced tomatoes. I was reading a cookbook. Oh, it's a cookbook. And they did a taste test of all the diced tomatoes. And believe it or not, of all the fancy brands, Hunt's won the taste test. So, I use Hunt's for this. Now, let me show you something on the beans. The trick to the beans, you soak them overnight, and then what people will do is they'll cook them down and your sauce is kind of runny. You want your red bean gravy to be like a gravy. So, I'm going to show you guys a trick, and I'm going to have to ask my mother and my grandmother to step aside for a minute. Sorry guys, you guys can't see this part of the show. Alright, so now we got them out of the room. Let me show you my trick. I take half the beans and I put them in this food processor. Half. You pulse. Okay? That's it. Just pulse them a few times. And the reason I would want to do that is it opens up the insides of the beans, and then when they turn creamy, they'll mix with all that water and make like a nice thick gravy. You guys are going to see that in a little bit. Alright, so now these things have cooked down a little bit. We're going to take our can of tomatoes. Just dump it in there. Mix it up. Now, when you're cooking, I was told by a chef years ago, never cook with water. And that's true. So you're going to see, we're going to add chicken broth for our water, just to give it extra flavor. You don't want to put water where it's going to take away from the flavor. Now, another thing I want you to know, all the flavor in these red beans is coming from this base that we're building right now. So we're cooking this down. Now we're going to start building some flavor in there. Worcestershire sauce. Okay. No need to measure. Just a little bit. Okay. Let that get in there and cook. Okay. Let's add a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Put it in the pot and cook it. Don't worry about that salt. This is a big old pot. And when you're cooking red beans, you have to use a Dutch oven. Not expensive. You can go to Walmart and get you one of the Lodge cast iron things for $60. You can go to Walmart and they make a Trampentina version, about a 6-quart for about $60. They catch them on sale all the time. You can talk.
World Market.
Yep, World Market. Yep. That's right. We run them on sale. They run them on sale all the time. Got a little fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to show you another New Orleans thing. Oh, almost forgot. 1 head of garlic. I always add the garlic last, because garlic tends to cook quickly. And these beans are going to take 2 or 3 hours. You know what you're trying to do is you're trying to cook this slow and low. Think of all these ingredients as like people at a party. You have a party and everybody's just kind of staying to themselves, right? They get a couple drinks in them. Next thing you know, they loosen up and everybody starts mingling. That's what slow and low does. We got to get all these flavors in here to quit sitting in the corner and talking. We need them to get in there and party. Alright. Here's another party starter right here. Zatarain's crab boil. Look, it doesn't take a lot of this stuff, but it gives you a little nuance. The stuff's spicy. It's got cayenne pepper in it. But it gives it just a little something. You put too much of this, you're going to mess the flavor up. Just a little bit. Now, we got that out of the way. We can break my grandmother and my mom back. Oh, hey guys. Yeah, nothing going on here. We're just cooking red beans. No secrets or anything. Just regular old red beans. Alright, you guys can sit over here and watch. Alright, now, while this is cooking down, another thing that you can't skip out on is a ham hock. And normally we cook a ham, get a big old ham hock. I didn't have one, so I went to the store and got me as much as I could. I got me a piece of meat that has the ham hock in there. It's not a big piece, but you have to have that. That marrow flavor gets in there. You really need it. Oh, and that reminds me. Growing up in New Orleans, everybody ate red beans on Mondays. When I say everybody, everybody. I remember coming home from school and we would play up and down the street, play football and soccer and softball, and you could smell red beans in the air. People, like in the fall, they would have their front doors open, have the windows open, and every single person was cooking red beans. You go to the restaurants for lunch, red beans is on the menu. I never could figure out why in the world does everybody eat red beans on Monday. I grew up and it was a rule. I thought it was a rule. Had no idea why that happened. Finally somebody told me. It was customary back then, still a lot today, that the family would get together on Sundays after church and Mom would cook a big old ham. And you would have ham on Sundays after church. Nice formal dinner. The ham hock's in the ham. So the best thing to do with a ham hock is to make red beans and rice. So Sunday you had the ham, Monday you had the red beans and rice. Whatever scraps you had from the ham went in this pot. And the bone went in the pot. Who'd have thunk it? Very interesting. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nestle that little baby up in there. Alright, now I have 2 bay leaves and I chopped up some fresh oregano. You can use dried oregano. I just happen to have fresh because I like fresh. Put about a tablespoon or so. If you're using fresh, you need to double up because the fresh isn't as strong as the dry stuff. Alright, so now we're going to take the beans. Okay, these are the ones that we pulsed. So come on, how long have we been cooking here? 10-15 minutes?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Red beans isn't that big a deal, folks. This is my other half a pound that I did not mince, pulse. Okay. And we're going to add our chicken stock. Now how much chicken stock do you use? Right? Because I might not have the same size ham hock. I may not have the same amount of stuff every time. So how much do you put? In this case, my camera woman remembers our show about stocks and broths and bouillons, and she is reminding me that we're using chicken broth today. That's true. Chicken stock, if you remember from our show about chicken stocks and chicken broths, chicken stocks do not have any of the meat flavor at all. I'm using the broth for this. Gives it a little bit more flavor. Just a little bit more than if I was using a stock. So, rule of thumb is you add enough liquid to just barely cover the beans. If you do it that way, it'll come out perfect every time. So, making New Orleans red beans and rice is simply that easy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this down on, like on an electric, you got your 1 to 10. We're going to put it on about 2.5. Just a nice slow roll. And we're going to cook this down. How long? I don't know. 2 to 4 hours. Probably more like 3 to 4 hours. But the way that you tell, you want to come and stir this about every 30 minutes. Just give it a good stir. And you taste the bean. They're ready when the beans are soft and creamy. If they're a little bit hard, keep cooking. New Orleans red beans and rice is that easy. And now you know all the secrets.